Let me tell you about my best friend. She's a woman.
I guess the first question I would have to ask is like, when did you identify that you didn't want to just become, I guess a follower is the best term, right? So there's a leader and a follower. When did you identify the fact that, holy shit, I want to become that leader?
Sure. Well, listen, it's a personality thing. First thing is you have to know what you're comfortable with. Are you comfortable putting yourself in front of others and saying, follow me? Or are you better serving yourself when you say, I'll follow you? You know, it's interesting because when I think about a leader isn't just a person that is in the hierarchy of an employment situation, the top person.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. A leader is somebody who, I have a very good friend. You know them very well. We go away together. And there's always one person that says, all right, I got this. I'm going to make the plans. I'm going to set up the agenda. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then the other people just follow.
Yeah.
Now, I consider myself a leader. I've always considered myself a leader because in other conversations we've had, right? We've talked about this. I'd rather prepare for the party and host than maybe go to somewhere else and have a party. So clearly I've always warmed up to that role of being a leader.
So you identified that prior or in exclusion of work. You just knew you wanted to become a leader in life.
It's your personality. Yeah. It's definitely a personality thing. So there's those people, again, when you are comfortable with that role of being the leader and say, follow me, here's what we're going to do, it kind of makes for a simpler transition for the group or the masses of those who are in that group to know what's going on. And the vacation is just a good example. There should be collaboration. You say, I want to go to a beach. Someone else says they want to go on a boat. Someone else says they want to go island hopping, whatever it is. Okay, once you determine what that agenda is going to look like a little bit, somebody has to take the lead and now iron it all out.
I think the vacation is a really good example because, obviously in work, the reason behind wanting to become a boss or a leader is money, right? Financial reasons. But like, if it's in you, there's no other reason that you'd be doing this on vacation, right? It's just something that you're born with. And so I think that's a great sort of telltale sign that, okay, this person's a natural born leader, whether it was the captain on the football team or the baseball team. This is somebody that wants to take the situation by the horns and deal with it.
But so a captain on a football team or a baseball team they aren't necessarily always the verbalized stereotypical leaders. Yeah. Some of them are just very quiet. And so what happens? You lead by actions. Those are the really subtle skill sets to a person that again, everyone can identify differently with, but you can lead in so many different ways. You can lead by the verbal things you say. You could lead by just the physical place and awareness of how you do something and how you carry yourself. And so, that quote, lead by example, is never probably better demonstrated than in athleticism, than in athletics.
Sure. Okay. So, like I said, great correlation. Now let's get into actually, what you did, because you were a manager of multiple people. Right. So like, talk about where you started, how many people you managed, and then I guess like out your peak, how many people, were under you.
All right. So when, I would say I rewind the clock and I go back to a place that I started, it was management of me. You have to control and carve out where you want to go, I think, before you truly just say, okay, I'm showing up and here I am, and now let me see how much money I can make, or let me see what I can get out of this. No, you truly need to prepare and manage yourself, right? Identify your goals, know where you want to be. So the first thing is you truly have to be responsible for yourself and carve it out and map it out and be committed to that. And then as you find some success in that path that you're on, now there's other people that are around you that are going to identify with that, and they're going to say, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. What are you doing now? Right? It's casual conversations. Oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And then you have the stimulation from maybe even another person that says, I want to do what you do. Or maybe I come up with an idea that says, hey, why don't you do what I do? The same way that I was introduced to the mortgage business. Somebody introduced me to it, and I got into the mortgage field by way of someone else that was already doing it. anyway, as you evolve through these steps, you start to create the team, if you would, around you, because you need to get better. And the way you get better is by surrounding yourself with better people and multiplying those that you're going to put yourself around. And before you know it, you are all of a sudden the person that has to take the directional place of being this leader.
People are like relying on you at this point.
Yeah, it's accountability.
So, yeah, I mean, you said something really good that I want to highlight. Become a manager of yourself first.
Right.
What does that look like? Like, let's get really granular with how to. So, I want to become a manager of other people. One day, let me start with myself. Where do I go?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Go in the mirror. Look in the mirror, and seriously, you and everyone else that's trying to grab a piece of, we'll say success. Right. So there's a lot of people that say, I want to be successful. I want to be this. I want to be that. Okay, great. Aspire for greatness. Mm-hmm. Yet, how do you get there? You want to get granular? The first thing is know who you are. Look at yourself in the mirror physically and say, all right, is this the look that I want to portray to others? Mm-hmm. And if you're perfectly fine with the unshaven, hair all over the place, ripped collared t-shirt, I don't know. If that's what you're cool with and that's what you want to project, then go ahead. Then commit to that. Yeah. If there's not something that sits well, or you identify with other people in your industry that are doing something similar and what their look is like, if you're trying to emulate that, that's okay as well. But you got to be careful, because those people who are at that pinnacle of wherever they are, they didn't always start off with that physical look or that attribute. You guys are kidding yourselves if you think that the guy who's wearing a hoodie now, that's the CEO, that has a casual t-shirt on and jeans and no socks on, and because he didn't start that way. That is no way that look that they portrayed from day one when they said they wanted to do it. Right? Well,
I mean, I think, and you just talked about it, right? Like, if that's who you want to become, right? Because, again, you care about your presentation in terms of how you dress and how you look.
Sure.
Other people may look in the mirror and, like you said, I don't really care. And I think it comes down to, like, owning it, right? Like you said, you can't see the forest through the trees here, and you really have to start with yourself. If you take a step back and say, I like who that individual is, then that's great. If not, then you better start changing up some shit.
And it's cool. Again, if just know who you are first. Start with yourself. Be comfortable with yourself, but be responsible. Be responsible enough to say that that's the brand of what you're going to market. Yeah. And there's a trade-off, because there's going to be people of my age demographic, things we talked about in the last episode, right? That they're going to be evaluating you. They're going to be interviewing you. You don't even know you're being interviewed. They're going to look and eyeball you up and down to see what you have, from how you take care of yourself to the kind of shoes you might have on. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with staying in the middle of the road. You know, you can have a haircut, a crease in your pants, and a shine on your shoes. Everyone could do that. Yeah. Or you could dismiss and say, I don't care. You should care. Everyone should care. There's not enough emphasis today on projecting something that is really in balance of that middle of the road. So, first thing is that look yourself in the mirror and say, is this what I want to, is this what my brand's going to look like? Yeah.
And it may be subconscious too. Like they may not be saying it, but that's what they're thinking. And I don't even think it's just your age demographic. Like I'm 25 and I care what people look like. I hate when I see somebody with a wrinkled up shirt and they look like a slob or they smell like shit. Like I don't want to talk to you either. You know what I mean? So, but then it comes down to, like we said, so it's knowing yourself, it's having the confidence to carry yourself properly. And then I guess it's doing what you need to do first to then have other people lead you. So where did you, I guess, find your inspiration from to become this leader? So you knew you wanted to become one. Now
yeah. Well, again, I didn't know I wanted to become a leader. I just knew I wanted to be. You want to be in a place of that top 1% of the 1%, and that's again not measured by monetary means. That's not saying I want to be the top 1%. No, I want to just be the best of the best. Whatever I can get after, that I can control day in and day out, that's where I would like to, put myself. And then everything else that comes with it, right? The monetary piece of it, the money that follows the success. When you, again, formulate your plan of where you think you're directionally going to end up, you have to have people around you, right? What you could do is limited. What you can accomplish through others is limitless. So what you accomplish through others is the learning curve of, well, instead of me trying to do it all,
Right.
let me give this little piece to this other person that I can trust and I can count on, that seems to be really interested in coming along the ride with me.
Who was that person for you?
One
Did
was
you
my
have-
brother. Well,
Okay.
you know, you can't have a better partner in the form of someone, in my case, who was my brother, as a family member that I could trust.
Yeah.
So my brother identified early that he would follow. He would do everything I asked him to do. And I would take a piece of what I was doing and I would give it to him. And then he would make it better because he could give full attention to it, where I was giving maybe only 10 or 15% of my attention to it because
Yeah.
I was in so many other directions. And so, again, that really critical part of this learning exercise is trusting in someone else that you have the right alignment with, and you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people. You're putting everyone on the same path, and if they're good with it, then let's just keep going together. Let's run shoulder by shoulder, side by side, and let's get after it every day. And then you just become the multiplier of that. So through answering your question about how you then evolve into working with and managing and leading people, it becomes an exercise that you have to pay attention to. You have to, again, how many people do I want to manage? I don't know that I would want to say that I would just want to manage hundreds of people,
Yeah.
right? I want to manage effectively a group of people that at the end of the day fairly is going to get us where we need to be.
Yeah, and you've identified that. Like some people may only want to manage one. Some people may
Right.
want to manage hundreds of people.
Right.
And I think,
Right.
like you mentioned about managing your brother, finding somebody to then follow you, is just as important as you in the reverse, finding someone to follow. Right.
Right.
Because now it gives you the confidence that, hey, I can do this.
Right.
And
Yep.
starting with somebody that you can trust,
Yep.
that's an easy box to check off. Because if you don't have that, you
Right.
have something then that's in your way. So,
Well, again, I've said it to you before. Everyone should be a mentor, and everyone should be a protege.
Right.
At one point or another, right? I was the protege. I had a mentor. And when you then turn that corner and you find that, hey, I've got the hang of this, well, bring somebody else along.
So-
pull up another person.
yeah, let's talk about that. So you had a mentor. You were, I'm assuming, younger than you are now. You may still have a mentor. I don't know. But what did you learn from him in the early days? Like, was it things that he just did, or was it things that he said to you?
Yeah, you know what? When you ask that question, I think of, first of all, I've had more than one mentor. Tino's here. Should we get him on? I guess Tino likes to always come down.
And when we're doing things,
Hi, Tino.
he's got a great personality.
All right, we're talking about mentors, talking about pro. Let's get back to it now. Just picking up where we left off a little bit, because this is amongst so many things that are relevant to the direction. It's the influence, it's the impact, it's the people you surround yourself with, it's your commitment. There's so many broad strokes of greatness that you can pull from every little component of this, umbrella of success. Underneath this umbrella of success, you find a person as a mentor that you want to have alignment with. You will be influenced or inspired by them in a lot of different ways. I remember the guys that I first were aligned with. I loved the way they dressed. I loved some of the things that they had in the form of cars and houses. And mind you, these weren't just multiple big high-end people. They were, compared to me as a 25-year-old, yeah, they had houses, they had cars, they had these great lifestyles. They would go out to dinner all the time. They were sharply dressed. I loved all of that. And I knew that there was a part of me that wanted that. So, okay, let me follow what they do. But what they did that was clear as day, they were 100% all in to their craft, right? They weren't casually doing this. They were serious, locked in doing this. They were working 80 plus hours a week, Saturdays, Sundays. They were carrying themselves the same way every day. Now, what that means is if they dressed a certain way, I don't think I've ever saw one of the two mentors that I grew up with ever outside of a suit. Now, did they ever take off their suit and put on sweatpants? If they did, I never saw them that way. I know they did, but the point is they would go out on the road pressing the flesh in a suit Saturdays, Sundays, the whole entire week.
Yeah.
And I knew that, well, okay, if I wanted to get there, I got to do the same thing. And meanwhile, as I ran the course of learning the business and what that meant, there were other people in my industry that said, I'm not putting a suit on. I don't care. Okay, well, maybe you don't care, and maybe you think you look good, but I felt like I was better prepared because I was walking in dressed the part that I believed was the significant defining, separation between me and others. The guy or girl that would come behind me may not have had a suit on, and so okay, but I knew I stood out. Right?
Yeah, it's like the little things that everybody's always trying to like hack life nowadays, right? And they sort of see examples of, well, he did it and he wasn't wearing a suit, right, so that means I can. And the answer is probably maybe, right? Yeah. And the example could be something like, okay, I can get to Europe by swimming there, but I could probably get there a lot easier by flying. Right. And so if wearing a suit and dressing the part and acting the part are easy, simple ways and easy steps to get there, why wouldn't you just try to do it? Right. Like, why are you trying to make things harder for yourself? And I think your friend yesterday or the other day came here and gave a really good, or told a really good story about, he asked his mentor, what's the secret, right? What is the secret if somebody were to ask you? And he said the secret was, look, you got to work 80, 90 hour weeks for 2 years, and then you'll get there. And the thing is, people, like I said, are always trying to find the easiest way to get to their destination. And sometimes it's just, commit to yourself and just go and do it. And I am at fault as well as a younger kid. I want to always try to find the easiest way possible when sometimes it's just hard work.
There's no shortcuts, and there is a defining moment of understanding hard work with purpose and hard work with just motion. You could be a hamster on a wheel. Oh, I'm moving. I'm going somewhere. Oh, you're not really going anywhere. You're just running. So you have to have purpose and focus and intention, and then you'll get where you need to be. Again, carving out the road you want to be on. Someone else has already done this. Right. Someone else has already been it. So follow them. Yeah. Ask the questions, but be prepared. There have been, through this experience of our TikTok account, there's been countless people that have said through LinkedIn, oh, I want to talk to you. Okay, great. And I'm open to that. I'll have some conversation with you. And this is not just exclusive to the LinkedIn experience and the following group of our TikTok account, but I've talked with so many people that have been so enthusiastic about, hey, I want to do this. How do I do it? Yeah. And then I'd spend 15, 20 minutes with them, and I'd tell them, and then I give them a little assignment, a real little assignment. Like, how many referral sources do you have? Oh, I have 10. I said, okay, go find 10 new ones by the end of next week and call me back. Yeah. And guess what? I don't get a call back. Yeah. Well, why not? So did you not get 10, or you're afraid to tell me you didn't get 10? Well, did you get one? Any sort of feedback at that point is valuable. If I've had 10 conversations with people that were similar around them wanting to learn and go to this other level, I got to tell you, it's the lower percentages of maybe one or two that's even had the follow-up exercise to show that they were really prepared to take the next, right? I want to, everyone wants to be in shape, but no one wants to get in shape.
It's the same shit.
I want to have big muscles. I want to look great on the beach. Well, you got to eat right. And that's an everyday thing. Yeah. You got to exercise correctly. And that's an everyday thing. It's not just take a pill, drink a drink, it's nothing. There's no instant way of getting those long-term lasting results.
Yeah. I think that's a great point you brought up. And, TikTok is a platform that we've been able to, use and leverage to, just increase engagement and exposure of our lives. And it's great because you emulate and embody what other people really want to aspire to be. But like you said, I would say 95% of the people on TikTok don't want to do what you do.
Right.
I mean, and I can attest to this. You're down here in the basement 10, 12 hours a day talking on your phone and doing what you need to do. But the thing is, like, it's consistent. It's not like you're doing this Monday and Tuesday and then Wednesday through Friday, you're really not doing much. Like, this is just an everyday thing. And the other thing is, like, this isn't really work for you. Like, this is your life. You know, it's not like you wake up and dread the day. Like, you would rather be on your phone or on your computer than doing anything else. And that's what it has to start to become, is like, this is just a part of your life. People that are, like you said, jacked up and in great shape, they love going to the gym.
Sure.
You know, they would rather be in the gym than at the bar. And that's just how life is.
That's John, listen, this is not, I have a job. I have a responsibility. I have an obligation to myself. Again, the person in the mirror. I decided a long time ago that I wanted to have a family. That's a conscious decision. Well, I decided I was going to have children. Okay, that's a conscious decision. Now it's my primary focus and responsibility to make sure that I do my part, right? I'm going to make the best life that I can make for myself and my family, and with that, have complete insulation and satisfaction. I could be golfing today. It's a beautiful day. It's probably one of the nicest days that we've had in weeks.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous day.
And you're here with
And
us.
instead, I said to you I would do this morning, and I'm doing it. I could play golf anytime. I can't talk to you like this or have this opportunity just any old time.
Yeah, I mean, that you brought up a great point. Like, this is a great example. This is not hard work in relation to, you know, working with your hands, whatever it is, but it's just a commitment. Like what we do on TikTok or whatever it may be, it's just we're doing it every day, and it's consistency. And so if you want to scale a page or social media, just go and do it. Like, start day one and just don't stop until you reach a point of no return, and you're gonna learn on the way. Like, I mean, again, great point. These are the little things. It's like the 5% extra that, you know, you and I are willing to do. An example of this, that if you're not getting to where you need to be, maybe you're not doing that.
And you know, the other thing is that there's strength in numbers. So you have me, I have you. You're going to have a much easier time at this because you have me, and I have a much easier time learning what the heck it is we're really doing and the impact of this because of you. So it's my generation learning from your generation learning from mine, and that's the added value, the plus of this entire experience that we have.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just being committed and being open to learn.
Right.
You know, as a 25-year-old, that's all I want to do is just learn how to become the best version of me that I can be. You know, and that comes with just surrounding yourself with the right people, whether it's your dad or friends of friends, whatever it is. Just got to find your clique there.
Right. Right. People that want to find that common thread, that you have to sift through a bunch of the weeds, get through the weeds in your garden to have the right kind of the fruits of your labor. So whatever crop it is you're growing, you got to do the work.
Pull the weeds out.
Pull the weeds. Remember what I always tell you as a young man.
We don't smoke weed, we pull them.
That's right. And look what's happened. You don't even pull weeds anymore.
I don't do either.
Okay. You drink now stuff that has weed in a can.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
for sure.
That just tells you
and the weeds
how
are
old
gone.
I am. Yeah, and the weeds are gone.
Yeah. So, okay. So and this is a question you may not have the answer to, or yes or no. Have you had a shitty experience with a boss, right? Somebody that is a boss versus a leader, that put everybody else in front of them and forced all the work onto them, but wasn't doing it themselves.
Yeah. Well, so I can't reflect back, and no one comes to mind. Okay. No one comes to mind. It was just a horrible boss of a person. But again, that goes back to my attitude. I don't think there's anyone that would ever dictate to me or jump down my throat that was going to super intimidate me. I pulled inspiration from that. If someone said you can't do it, that would motivate me, right? Others hear that and they don't like that and they crawl up in a ball. And so that's just, again, that's how, I would say I was wired, and I still am that way. So there's been plenty of crappy people around me because that's just the way it is. Their style of, the difference between a boss and a leader. A boss manages from a place of intimidation. A leader manages from a place of, let me show you how.
Inspiration.
Oh, inspiration. Okay, so either inspiration by some of the things they say or in the actions of what they do.
I think it's more the actions, right? Because you can shove words down somebody's throat all
Right.
day, but if they're not doing what you think they should be doing, then
Well, of
what's
course.
the real point?
Right. So, like I said, you have to have a tolerance for this, and you need to understand, or people need to understand, it's with probably originally good intentions that the boss really does want to help, or the boss learned something and he or she's going to try to share it with you, or someone's identified that person's done something right, so let's put them in this position to manage these other people. Okay, there's not always an ideal fit, but there's going to be something, a sliver of something that comes out of that value. So one of the examples I'll give you is this. So I used to work at supermarkets, and we started off at retail. I told you I used to work for Colgate-Palmolive, and it was everything from the back room to the front, for the front end, the end caps of building displays and so on. There was a manager, a store manager at the time, that thought he was my boss, and he would make me run around to do things that, okay, some of which I wanted to do because I knew it would lead to a greater opportunity to get my toothpaste on display somewhere versus somebody else's that wasn't even there, right? But I didn't work for him. And he said to me something almost, well, in a very braggadocious way in front of someone else, that he was going to make me run around like that. And I knew it. He told me, why don't you go in the back and go get this and go get that? And it wasn't even my stuff. I worked for Colgate. He wanted me to go get somebody else's product. Yeah. And as he said it to the guy he was saying in front of, almost as if to, again, say, watch this guy, this young kid go do it. I stopped and I said, nah, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And it wasn't for me to be defiant, but there's the boss mentality. Now, the takeaway is, well, but this guy still ran the whole supermarket. He still ran the whole place. So, okay, the inspiration, I'll boil this down to the point, is if I want to be in the supermarket industry as an example, and I want to run a store, well, that's one way of doing it. Obviously, that's not ideal. But if that guy could do it, so here's the inspiration part. If that guy could do it in that style, and I'll blow his doors off. Yeah. So you had inspired me. You don't even realize it, but you were such a jerk. You were such a you watered down and made such he made such an ass of himself, right, in front of somebody else. He didn't make me look like or feel like an ass, because I was very comfortable with, again, what I was supposed to be doing. Short of the long is that's motivation. I know I could be better than that guy. If that guy's getting paid that much money to be the manager, well, why not me? Yeah. So again, these experiences, you got to be careful with how you view them, and people in general, I think, have good intentions. It's up to you how you perceive and navigate through certain experiences.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, learning from a boss is actually maybe even easier than learning from a leader. Like when you see somebody bossing somebody else around, you're like, oh my God, I never want to be like that individual. I never want to make somebody else feel so small ever. So when I am a leader, I know exactly what not to do. And so that's a really good example.
But let me also say this, when you say boss and leadership, there's moments where I'm certain I managed from the boss mentality, because you can't just clean line it and look at it now and say, okay, I want to do all these things that make me a leader, so I'll do just these. There's certain times where you're gonna go to that boss mentality. I said it before about intimidation. Okay, I could be as sincere. I can be as sincere as I want with somebody, yet their impression of me is that, oh, you're intimidating me. Why? Because I'm being very factual? Because you're asking me, how am I doing? And I say, you're not doing good. So is my honesty and sincerity in that little, exercise, am I trying to intimidate you? No, I'm trying to be truthful with you. But their impression is, oh, he's mean.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think there's a difference between intimidation or fear and respect. And I think a lot of people respected you, and even like I said, growing up at 10, 11 years old, walking into your office and having everybody cheer me up and just brag about how great my dad was. I didn't know at the time, but now I know it was coming more of a place of like, look, they did respect you, but they wanted to get on your good side for a reason, right? Because they knew if they weren't, that's not a good place to be.
No, there's a genuine affection that goes with that. You know, that when we were back in the height and the peak of what, you know, when we had the right people around, and these are now longtime family friends, right? You call some of these guys uncle.
Yeah.
I mean, they're that special. So
Right.
that resonates to me that, I was on the right side of the leadership board, okay? Because there was a lot of good history of experiences for everyone. But when we, you reflect back on some of those times, I'm certain there was times where I managed and it was on the slippery slope of being considered too bossy.
Yeah.
And that just happens, but you have to be able to, again, find your road, be your comfortable self, and understand that everyone wants to be led. No one wants to be told what to do.
Yes.
They want to be led. They don't want to be told what to do. And so that's the balance. That's the balancing act.
Yeah. All right. That's
Okay. Is that basically it?
that's pretty much. I mean,
I think we covered it.
we covered a lot today.
Yeah. What else?
This was good. I mean, what else?
What else? How do we want to end every podcast? I forget. How was it? People, let me tell you about my best friend. No, it wasn't us singing. Go ahead.
No. I don't
Come
know.
on, buddy.
I don't know. We did something
Anybody's-
about
huh?
saying something. It was we had a tagline. I think.
Yeah,
did
it
something.
was, Dad, you're my dad. I'm here. I sing a song to you. I love you. I love it. Wasn't that it?
Yeah,
Did
something
you want
like
to say something about Buddy the Elf?
Yes. Well, actually, I mean, it's very interesting, right? Because growing up, this has always been a father-son relationship. Right now, I'm turning the corner where, and I feel it myself, right? You become very defined because now you're your own man and you want to sort of pick out. And for me, I've noticed, and everybody holds my dad up to a higher level of status, right, because of who he is. And I respect that tremendously. But like I said, now that I'm of age where I'm considered a man, I want to find ways where I'm better than him, right? So it shouldn't be a competition, but now it starts to become one. But the reason I say that is because when we start doing these things like the podcast and the TikTok, we really want to establish a brand and make a business out of it. This is no longer just my father, it's my partner. And that's a hard dynamic to sort of grasp at times, but we're both learning how to deal with it. So of course I have a tremendous amount of love for him as a dad, but I also love him as a business partner. There are things that him and I butt heads on, but I wouldn't really want to do it with anybody else. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. One thing we do ask is please, if you like this show, share it with a friend. Let us know how you feel about it. Give us a rating on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. We're going to be coming out with shows probably once every week or so. So stay tuned for the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Cheers.
My best friend, he's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about my best